Welcome to America Reads Fun Learning Activities. We are college students who create learning activities for kids. Our fun activities are focused on reading, writing, and math. Thank you for joining me to learn today. My name is Zoe, and in today's video, we're going to be talking all about credible sources and how to find and use them in your writing. For today's activity, you're going to need a writing utensil, a glue stick, scissors, a file folder, and a piece of paper. Here we have all the materials to make a lap book. The crayons are optional to decorate and color your lap book, and if not, that is completely okay. So before I show you my completed lap book, I'm going to show you how to make it. So for this, you're going to need a piece of paper, and here I have different colored pieces of paper, but they don't have to be colored, they can be plain if needed. So what we're going to do to get started is we're going to cut out carefully with scissors just a large strip of paper. Like so. So not too big, just kind of a rectangle shape. And what you're going to do is you're going to fold it in half like this, hamburger style, right in the middle. And you're going to take your glue stick and glue the bottom side, it could be either side, and just kind of put some glue on there. Just make sure that it'll stick. And glue that side down. You're going to glue that side down. And so there, you can label the top part with your keyword, and then the definition will go here. And so you just keep doing that on the front of your file, or you can even do that inside the file. And they don't have to be sideways. Let's cut another piece just to see the different ways that we can do this. We cut another piece out, a rectangle piece. Make sure it's big enough so you have room to write on it. Again, we fold it in the middle, hamburger style. We take our glue. And we glue down our bottom side. Let's open our file, and we can put it down this way. And so again, our label would go here, our keyword, label or key word, and inside would go or definition or example. And so that's how our lap book would work, and we're going to have many different examples, and so altogether you need to make 7 of these. It doesn't really matter where they go, but you just need to know that you need to make 7 of these little flaps, and also you can decorate your file any way that you want. In the next clip, I'm going to show you my finished lap book, and you can go ahead and copy all the definitions and examples that we go through, and also decorate if wanted. So here we have our completed lap book, and as we go through each flap, be sure to pause the video and write down each keyword or tip, as well as the definition. And I decorated mine, but like I said, it's completely optional if you would like to decorate yours. So we open it, and our first tip is called the CRAAP test, or the CRAP test. And so the C stands for currency, and let's open this flap. So when talking about currency, you want to ask these things about your source. When was the article published? Has the information been revised or updated? Does the information relate to your topic or question? Does the website link work? So we want to make sure that we ask each of these things, and it's pretty important to look at these things because We don't want an article that is too old and that doesn't really catch up with today's data or today's news, because there might have been new things that have happened. We want to make sure that our source is not more than 10 years old, I'd say. And R stands for relevance. So if we open this, we want to ask ourselves, when talking about relevance, does the information help to answer your question or support your argument? And who's your intended audience? Is it appropriate for them? So we want to make sure that we're not choosing a source that does not relate to our writing, our essay, our argument at all. So we want to make sure that it's going to support our argument. And we really need to ask ourselves, who is our writing for? Is it for younger children? Is it for kids your age? Is it for just your teacher? Is it for your parents? There might be a different goal depending on who your intended audience is. So it's important to ask that question. And next we're gonna go to the A. So A is for authority. And when questioning authority, we wanna ask, who is the author, publisher, or sponsor of the source? Is there contact information for the author? Is the URL .gov, .net, .com, or .org? So if the URL is .gov, for example, you would know that this is a government article, this is written by the government, and so that could mean that it is pretty accurate and official. So now we move on to our second A, which is accuracy. If we open that flap, we want to ask ourselves, where is the information coming from? Are there any grammatical, spelling, or typo errors? So if there are grammatical errors or if there's typos in the essay, then you would know that maybe it is not the most credible or best source to use. We really want to avoid those errors. And let's move on to P. And P stands for purpose. And so when talking about purpose, we want to ask ourselves, what's the purpose of the information? Is it to persuade, inform, entertain, etc.? And does the information have bias or opinions in it? So it's important to know if our article is to persuade, inform, or entertain, because based on either of those, it might be a good indicator if it's a good idea to use that source. If the article's purpose is to inform and they include opinions in it, it's probably not the best article to use. We really want to avoid bias and opinions in our articles because that can show that the article or the source is not very credible. And so now we're going to move on to some key concepts. First, we're going to talk about plagiarism. If you're not aware what plagiarism is, it is when a writer copies or doesn't cite other writers' information. And so plagiarism is very important to talk about because it could actually get you in trouble. So what we want to do is paraphrase, and that means you can write the same ideas that are in the source, but just in your own words. Or we want to cite in text. So for example, that would look like writing, for example, the author's name says in their book, and then you would quote directly what the author said in quotation marks. And then after that, you would put the page number that you found that information in parentheses. And also, that could mean citing an MLA format. And we're going to talk about that over here in citations. But it's really important to make sure that you're not plagiarizing. And you could ask your tutor or your teacher, or even look it up on other tips on how to avoid plagiarizing. There is websites to use to see if your essay has any plagiarization errors in it. So it's really important to check that you're not plagiarizing. Moving on to citations. Citations are very important. They go at the end of your essay, typically called a works cited section. And so if you're not familiar of the order of the citation, it's the author with their last name and then their first. And then it's the title of the source or article in quotation marks, the title of the container, which could be the magazine name, it could be the newspaper name like Time, or the New York Times. And then it's the publisher who published the source of the article. Then it's the publication date, so when was this article posted, when was it published. Then it's the page numbers, if it's a book, what pages did you use? And then it's the link. So if it's an online source, you would copy and paste the link to the article at the very end. And so at the bottom here, we also have an example of what a citation would look like. So we have Doe, John, last name, first name, the title of the book or article in quotation marks, period. And this is the title of the container. This is the title of where we got this story from in italics, so it's slanted. Then this is the book publisher, whoever published this book, the date that it was published, so the year 2000. We use pages 1 through 2, and this is the link. If there was a link, this is where the link would go, and it would go at the end. Notice the comma and the period that are used in this. It's very important to note. And so that's how you cite things, and these are all the tips that I have. So be sure to pause the video and copy each of these in your lap book and customize it however you want. And in the next section, we're going to practice finding sources using the craft test and also practicing citing them online. Okay, so for this part of the activity, we're going to be looking at two different sources, and we're going to be using the CRAAP test that we just went through. And if you remember correctly, it's currency, relevance, authority, accuracy, and purpose. And then we're going to be citing, and we're going to be using MLA format. And if you remember correctly, we went through an example as well in my lap book. And then we're going to be going through a resource that could help you cite, and I think it would be helpful to you. Okay, so let's click on the first source. So this article is called "What Makes Scorpions Glow in an Ultraviolet Light?" And so we see that the date here was January 14th, 2015. So that was 6 years ago. So this article is a little bit old, but it's not too old. This was the date that it was published, and the publisher is Kids Discover. And let's see if they have an author. It says about the author here, but we don't see a name. It just says Kids Discover, for over 25 years, we've been creating beautifully crafted nonfiction products for kids with a specialty in science and social studies. Our team of talented writers, award-winning designers and illustrators, and subject experts from leading institutions is committed to a single mission: to get children excited about reading and learning. So we see that they have a little mission statement there, but there is no author. But we do know that they have some credibility. They've been writing articles for over 25 years, so that makes them a little bit credible. And so let's just read this article quickly. All scorpions fluoresce under ultraviolet light, such as an electric black light or natural moonlight. The blue-green glow comes from a substance found in the hyaline layer, a very thin but super tough coating in a part of the scorpion's exoskeleton called the cuticle. Scientists have noticed that right after a scorpion molts or shed its shell, it doesn't glow until the new cuticle hardens. According to a scorpion expert, Dr. Scott A. Stockwell, this could mean that the substance causes fluorescence is a byproduct of the hardening process itself, or it might be secreted not long after the creature molts. Whatever its source, the glowing property is surprisingly long-lasting. When scorpions are preserved in alcohol, the liquid itself sometimes glows under a UV light. And the hyaline layer is amazingly durable. It can survive millions of years, Stockwell says. It's often found in a scorpion fossils even when all other parts of the cuticle have vanished. What's more, even fossilized hyaline fluoresces. Still, scientists don't know what purpose of the fluorescence serves. Some theories, it protects scorpions from sunlight, it helps them find each other, it might confuse their prey. An article on the news website Life Science reported another theory by California State University arachnologist Carl Clark. Because scorpions avoid sunlight in general and UV light in particular, he thinks the glow actually helps them figure out whether to come to the surface or stay underground, based on how much UV light shines on them. For example, these nocturnal creatures are less active on moonlit nights and during the full moon. For humans, one benefit of the scorpion's glow is that it makes these stingers easier to see in the dark, which is perfect whether you're trying to study them or avoid them. So this article has some credibility. What do you think it is? So they sort a doctor here. They said Dr. Scott A. Stockwell. And they also quote another theory from California State University. And this adds to some of their credibility, but you should go through the crop test and see if there's any other problems or even typos, spelling problems, etc. that would make this source not good to use. So let's look at the other source now. This one is called Should Cursive Be Taught in Schools? And this was published January 21st, 2021. So this article is really relevant. It's very new, it was published this year. And so this is about if cursive should be taught in schools. This article is a little longer, so we won't be reading all of it, but there is different authors. Each of these kids gives their opinion. Some say no, some say yes, on if cursive should be taught in schools. So this is an opinion article. Each of these kids is giving their own opinion on if cursive should be taught, but we can read this little excerpt right here. Even in the age of computer keyboards, the ability to write neatly on paper is an important skill. Children are taught to print their letters or write each one separately. That writing looks like what you're reading right now. But what about cursive writing? Many schools no longer teach cursive. Some people think it's a dated form of writing and that school hours are better spent on other subjects. Others say learning to write in cursive is still useful. In 2019, the Texas State Board of Education reintroduced cursive as an essential skill. Should cursive be taught in school? We asked Time for Kids readers to share their thoughts. Here's what 4 of them had to say. And so again, each kid gives their own opinion. And so we should go through each of these, pause the video to read, and see if there's any spelling errors, do they cite their sources, or are they just giving their opinion? Would this source be a good idea to use in a persuasive argument? Would it be good to use in an explanatory essay? This source could be used for different types of writing, but it depends on what you're going for. So now we're going to choose the better of the two. Based on the currency, relevance, authority, accuracy, and purpose of the essay that you analyzed, which one do you think is better? So we're going to go with the Scorpion article, just because there is more science and there's more citation and facts that they have in here, and this one is just opinions. So what we're going to do is we're going to cite it, but there is no author, there is no publication, or there is a publication date, but there is no specific author, so we can't really name the author. And so in situations like this, we're going to use a source, and it's called Bidme. So if you click on the link, what you do is you click website here, make sure it's on MLA, and what you do is you find a website or by URL or keyword, and what you're going to do is you're going to go to your article if it's online, and you're going to drag your mouse over this. Oops, let me do that again. You're going to drag your mouse over this, and you're going to press Control-C, and that'll copy the link for you. Then you go back to the website, and you press Control-V, and that'll paste the website there for you. After you're done doing that, you're going to click Search Website, You're going to scroll down, and if that's your website, that's your article, which it is, you're going to press select, scroll down again, and see what they found. They found the website title, the publication day, the publication year, access day, which is June 3rd, that's the day that you clicked on the article title, and the URL. So they found the publication day, month, and year, which we couldn't really find. So let's click final step. If you don't know the author's first or last name, sometimes they put incorrect information, so you just have to take it out. That's the website title, that's the URL. Double check when it was published. Here it says January 14th, 2015, so that's a little wrong. January, you click that, January 2015, and you click Create Citation. You have to double check that information, and there you go. It creates the MLA citation for you. So you click Copy and Paste. Then you would go back to your document, go down, click Control V again, and it will cite the website for you. And let's make that a little bit bigger. And it'll cite the website for you there. And that's what an MLA citation looks like. And again, the website is called Bidme. And if you're ever confused on how to cite something, you would go to that website and it can make them for you. Great job, students. Thank you for learning with me today. I hope you come back and learn some more. Please be sure to like and subscribe to our channel, and we will be back with more videos.